Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. This is our first live, online only service in the history of New Hope. And so I am so excited now that this technology exists and we can use it to engage people online. And even when our building is closed, we can still influence others through the internet. So I'm excited. Right now, if you are on your computer, use the chat box right now. Say who you are so we can say hi. The chat host will be there and they'll say hi. So just put your name in so we can say hi and know that you're here. And if you would like prayer, or if this is maybe your first time, use the connection card at the buttons right at the top, right up here. So hey, thanks for joining us. I'm here in our building, and we just got done with Christmas, our Christmas services on Thursday. So here's the aftermath. Let me show you. Look, check it out. And all this stuff is in the lobby. So we're gonna have some fun putting all that away this week. But yeah, we had 3 services, and I think the first one it rained. So if you went to the first one, yes, thank you. But the other 2 were great, and then of course the 5 o'clock one. It was so special being outside and having the lights around, and so thanks for all the volunteers that made that happen. It was a special time. So this is the last sermon of the year, 2020. And so kind of looking back over this past year, 2020 was a year. I mean, it was one of those years that we will think about for the rest of our lives. And I just imagine my grandkids will come to me and ask me about what was 2020 like, and the term social distancing will forever be cemented during this time. And what a year, and not only did we have the coronavirus that caused so many people to suffer, and just through the pain of losing maybe even someone that you knew, someone that was close to you, that was lost through the virus, or having to be socially distanced from your family. And not only that, but 2020 will be a year that we remember the names of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery and many others, that their unnecessary deaths caused this national investigation to rid this country once and for all of perceived racial prejudice and injustice, and caused us to look once again and even more deeply into our police reform, and so that we can implement systems that could prevent such deaths from ever happening again. It was so tough being this year being a pastor, because it's difficult, because it seems to be that no matter what you say, no matter whether you're a pastor or not, that everyone's looking to paint you as being for or against, or in this camp or in this camp, and oftentimes I think it's the temptation is to remain silent, not because you don't want to empathize with those that are hurting. It's more so that you don't want to be painted as one side or the other, as being in this camp or that camp. And so to keep from alienating those that you love and want to minister to, sometimes you just don't say anything at all. And when you want to comfort those that are hurting, that oftentimes the phrase of "I'm so sorry" is almost seen as patronizing, unless it's coupled with this detailed argument of who's right and who's wrong. And it seems to be we live in this society where, at least for 2020, it was the people more concerned with your political affiliation and what you believed than just assessing how you treated others, how you acted. I think it's fair to say that 2020 was a year where all of us were in pain. All of us were. And whether it was you looked on the news and you witnessed a horrific event of injustice, or you lost someone that you loved because of the pandemic of the coronavirus, or you were isolated from those that you loved. And isolation is oftentimes the breeding ground for the enemy, and because of that, you experience things maybe you had never before because you just lost connection. 2020 was a year where we all hurt. We all did. And it's interesting how we deal with pain. Oftentimes, you either sometimes fall in the one or two camps. You fall into the camp that withdraws, or you fall into the camp that reacts in anger. And I had a mentor of mine tell me once that at Garrison, those people that are the angriest, or perceived as being the angry people, is oftentimes those who are hurting the most. And I think that's true. I think the anger that we witnessed in 2020 was really just an outcry of a deep pain that everybody was experiencing, and some more than others. I know that's the case with me. Oftentimes when I autopsy my anger and look down, oftentimes there's a hurt. There's a hurt that's being protected by anger. In anger, oftentimes it acts as this shield where we put this front of anger out to protect us from future hurt. But the problem is that when we get angry, it distances us from others, oftentimes those that we love, and it numbs us from receiving healing. I remember not too long ago, I came home and I was just angry about something. I won't get into the details of what it was, but I was really angry about it. And I came home, and my wife Laura, she's always a listening ear, and I just started going off about how angry I was about this, and I remember after about maybe 10 minutes of ranting, she said, "What are you scared of?" And my first thought was, scared? I'm not scared. I'm angry. I'm angry right now. And after about 10 minutes, I thought, I really was scared. I was really hurt about how I was treated, and I was scared of it happening again because I felt powerless to do anything about it. You ever been there? Where your anger is just kind of this shield to protect the pain of what's really going on. Thinking about anger isn't bad. Anger isn't evil. In fact, we were created with an ability to get angry. You ever thought about that? Like, God created us with the ability to be angry. Jesus modeled anger. Jesus got angry. In Matthew 21, it talks how that when he noticed that the temple was being used as this marketplace to defraud people, and he comes in and he gets angry. He turns over tables and he kicks people out. And he says, my house is meant to be a house of prayer, but you've turned it into a den of thieves. He was angry, visibly angry. And we look to see what Jesus got angry at. Well, he was angry at the fact that people were using and desecrating something that was meant to be sacred. They were using something against each other, and something that was meant to be used to give praise to God. He got angry. See, anger is really an alarm. Anger is an alarm. To alarm us of something something's wrong. Something's wrong. Something isn't right. And anger produces energy. Energy that if harnessed in the right way can be used as motivation to do a lot of good. To do a lot of good. And I think that's what a lot of us felt this year in 2020, that was this anger that we felt as we witnessed acts that were videotaped and displayed on the news of people dying unnecessarily. When we witnessed the injustices that have been going on and came to the surface this year, or when we witnessed a virus that spread like crazy and caused people to be separated, caused schools to be shut down, and oftentimes the people that were close to us caused them to be sick. It was this anger of like, this isn't right. This shouldn't be happening right now. And as we all kind of looked for answers, and we know, I mean, the problems are big and the solutions are just as complex. And as a church, we kind of asked this question of how can we make a difference this year? How can we make a difference despite there being so many obstacles? Because it's easy for anyone, and more specifically a church, to fall into this kind of learned helplessness, where because your mindset tends to fall into the 3 P's of personal, pervasive, and permanent, where because of this event that just kind of rocked us so heavily that our equilibriums have kind of all been thrown off, and we witnessed things that made us angry, that we knew were wrong, and that you just, what do you do? And so oftentimes, because the problem is so huge, it's easy just to fall into kind of this learned helplessness, where you say to yourself, well, this is permanent. It's always going to be like this. Nothing's ever going to change. It's permanent. So why do anything? Or it's pervasive. So everything's wrong. Everything's wrong. Nothing's right. And what's the point of doing anything? It's all wrong anyway. Or the last one is the 3rd P is personal, where you think, what can I do? I can't do anything. And you just kind of feel powerless and fall into this learned helplessness. And so what New Hope did this year is it prevent us from falling into that. They started having these discussions as early as back in March, when it all kind of started to happen, of what do we do? How can we continue to make a difference? And then when I came in June of this year, we were in a staff meeting one time, and we were speaking and about what we could do. And Pastor Russ kind of spoke up, and he said, no matter what we do, it's going to be inadequate compared to what's actually needed. He said, but we're going to continue to try to make a difference, all the while remembering that people are changed by Jesus, not us. That people are changed by Jesus, not us. That it was this kind of moment where he reminded us all that the power of life change, that people's hearts are changed because of Jesus. And it was this moment of this reminder that the weight of change isn't on our shoulders. That the changed people is not our responsibility. That we are called to simply do what God has called us to do now, to be faithful in the task that He's given us. And all the while, trusting that He is working in and through what we do to bring about the change that He wants. And so this year, as a church, we pivoted to continue to make this difference of to do what we can. And so we pivoted to strictly online. We did online services, and we recorded our services and our worship. We had online small groups. We had online women's events and online prayer events. We had a virtual VBS for kids. We had backpack drives, and we did food drives, and we did service outside. Right? I mean, never done that before. Like, where can we have? Let's have it outside, right? And we did a backpack drive. And just recently, our church stepped up and we provided Christmas gifts for over 20 children that were part of the International Network of Hearts, children and teens that were rescued from human trafficking. How awesome is that? That even in the midst of this time, that we're still seeing ways that we can glorify Jesus. That all this was done in the name of Jesus. And is it enough? No. But we're called to simply be faithful to what God has put before us, and to trust Him to use it all. That when we serve someone, we're serving in the name of Jesus, that they may experience Him and the hope that He provides. Like this Thursday, when we celebrated Christmas Eve, we celebrated the birth of Jesus. It was this time of celebrating the birth of hope in the world, that the people can now have this hope, that knowing that this world is not our home. And just as we celebrated on Thursday, and more specifically on Friday, we don't ever want to stop remembering the hope that Jesus has brought. A hope of knowing that this world is not our home. This world is, no matter what happens, that God isn't surprised, but He's continuing to work and redeem, to bring about unity, to bring about equality, to bring about healing, and to bring about salvation for those who are lost. So help, maybe remember that even in the smallest of things that we do, that God takes what we perceive as things that are small, and He uses them and to do something big. I'm reminded of the verse in 2 Corinthians when the Apostle Paul is speaking to a church in Corinth, and they're surrounded by all kinds of persecution. And he writes this to give them hope, to continue to strive to follow Jesus, to continue to live and to use the anger that they feel, to harness it, to use it to do good, to serve others. It's in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 16, and I'm using the New Living Translation, so it may be a little different in your Bibles, but 2 Corinthians 4, verse 16, it says, though our bodies are dying, our spirits are being renewed every day. For our present troubles are small and won't last very long. Yet they produce for us a glory that vastly outweighs them and will last forever. So we don't look at the troubles we can see now. Rather, we fix our gaze on things that cannot be seen. For the things we see now will soon be gone, but the things we cannot see will last forever. So we don't focus on the things that are around us. That doesn't mean we ignore them. But the message is we don't fixate on them and put our hope in them. But rather we fix our attention on Jesus. That we seek every day and say, Jesus, what can I do today to bless someone around me? How can I take the pain that I feel from witnessing things that are happening around me and use it to harness that anger, not to turn it inward, but to harness it and bless others outwardly. That I wouldn't just fill my days with ranting about things I can't control, but we can seek to say, God, what is in my sphere of influence that I can control? How can I bless someone today? All the while knowing that our attention is not on this world, but it is on eternity. And live every day knowing that what we do today echoes into eternity. I want to give you 2 steps today that I want you to take. I'm talking to you. I want you to take. I'm not just talking about someone who's not watching. I'm talking to you. That I want you to join a small group. I want you to join a small group. And here's why. Because if 2020 showed us anything, it showed us our need for connection. That it showed us either way you had connection or you lacked connection. We were meant for connection. We're meant for community. We are not meant for isolation. We need each other. And joining a small group is not only investing in yourself by giving yourself community, but it's allowing you to serve others. It's allowing you to encourage others in what they're going through. So take a risk. Take a risk and join a small group. You may be surprised. You may be surprised of what you find. We've had groups that have been meeting for years, and they are just a close knit group of friends. I want that for you. I want you to have a close community that you can turn to in times of need, and that also provides you a ministry that you can encourage them in as well. All the small groups that start up will go through a 5-week trial period, where at the end of 5 weeks, you can determine whether or not this is a group that you want to continue on with, or you can start over with another group. Every 6 weeks, we're going to have new small groups that start. Every 6 weeks. So at the end of the 5 weeks, if you think this group isn't for me, they were great people, but I just didn't click with them, you can sign up again and start with another group. And we have groups of all different types. We have co-ed groups of different ages. We have men only. We have women only. We have a military wives group. We have a first responders group for law enforcement and medical. Whatever that is, we have a group for you. And so I want to encourage you, go to our website and sign up for a small group. And if you're like, well, I don't know, I just want to tell you I want to be a part of a small group. Fill out a connection card. Like, click this button at the top. Click the button at the top and click connection card. And just say, I'm interested in a small group. Put your name and a contact info, and I'll reach out to you. Or go to our website. At the very top, it's ministries. Click on ministries, and then click on small groups, and then you can sign up there. But they start January 17th. So just like in 3 weeks. So sign up now and join a small group. And listen, they're going to be smaller. And so you're not going to be placed in a huge group. It's going to be a small group that you can really connect with one another. So join a small group. Join a small group this week. I promise you won't regret it. And the second thing is, I want you to get involved with serving here at New Hope. I want you, whatever, if you're willing, we have a job for you. Because it is healthy to be in the ministry, to minister to others. It's healthy to give back. That we can harness this anger of wanting to see people to know Jesus, this passion that we feel. that we can harness it to serve others. And here's what we need to remember, that you're not serving the church, not serving New Hope, you're serving through the church. You're not serving the church, you're serving through the church. You're serving the people of this church and the people that aren't here yet. So if you're willing, we have a job for you. So whether that's in the parking lot directing cars to a first-time guest on where to park, whether it's being an online host and welcoming people in the chat room, whether it's sending a text message out to a first-time guest and saying hello, or it's being a greeter and smiling face on the parking lot or on the sidewalk as people walk up. Whatever that is, we need you. But New Hope doesn't need you. The people need you. So 2020 was a year, but let's make 2021 a year that we can look back on and say with confidence, that was the year we made a difference for Jesus. Thanks for watching. Happy New Year, everybody.